Welcome to LifeLONG, our weekly get together to work through health related issues as a community through real two-way interactions. Quick note to everyone watching on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter, you can register at twoway.tv/Ethan Suplee and actually come on the show, ask questions, join the chat, be part of the conversation. And before we jump in, I want to tell you guys what I've been up to. For those of you who weren't there last month, we shot two pilots, and I want to thank everyone who came through and helped make those episodes great. If you missed them, that's okay. Both shows are up on YouTube, and you can go check them out. While you're there, like the videos, subscribe, and leave your feedback in the comments. It really helps us shape the show. I've also been in California recently shooting a new movie, so thank you for your patience while I was gone. Now that I'm back, I'm excited to get the ball rolling again. Last week, we received a video from Adam Boyd about the challenges he faces during the holidays. So let's play that before we bring him on.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Adam Boyd, and I'm just giving you that little clip. I first wanted to say thank you very much for the opportunity here, and I'm forever grateful for this. So Christmas in me has always been a bad relationship, of course, with food and also pressure of the holidays. I grew up in a very alcohol-driven home by a mother who battled with addictions, who still does. So holidays for us was no dinner. We were basically forced to have, pizza or, wings of some sort or some sort of fast food thing. I didn't grow up with a big family, even though I had a big extended family due to a family dispute between my dad and his brother. So that left me and my brother kind of alone for a lot of the holidays. And I comfort that with food, and that got me to becoming 640 pounds at the age of 27. I was 500 pounds by the age of 19, and now I'm currently working on changing that trajectory.
Adam, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
thank
Ethan.
you for sending the video. My own struggles, we get you're in Canada, so you guys
Yes,
have already had Thanksgiving, I believe. Is that
we
right?
have. Yes, absolutely.
So our Thanksgiving is coming up, and for me, Thanksgiving through New Year's really is just like a gauntlet of honestly binge eating or fighting the urge to binge eat. Everyone's throwing delicious food in my face, and there's social situations where food is really the only comfort I can find. I get like social anxiety and I just want to eat, and then it just seems like everything, in North America is celebrated with food, like just utter gluttony. So,
Yes,
so we're like now entering this whole time of the year where it's just like one thing after the next with food. So the holidays are tough, man.
absolutely. I do fully agree. Any insight you could give me off the bat, maybe to upcoming for Christmas that we could look at?
Well, let me ask you a question. What has it been like since you described your childhood where it was like pizza and chicken wings and stuff like that.
Yes.
What has it been like as an adult? What are some of the things you're running into now that you're kind of in charge of it?
Well, over the last 10 and a half months, I've been on a true weight loss journey. But before that, comforting with food, also alcohol, of course, but food's been the main driver for my life since I was a very young boy. And it's been, it's so easy now to just eat your feelings and hide away from the world.
Yeah.
And it's so easily acceptable to, you know, I mean, as long as you can kind of put a smile on, people see an overweight fat guy, but they're not really, they don't really know really what's going on with you. So the food and the comfort of that kind of sits in the hollowness of us as life of being overweight people and obese.
And does it get worse around the holidays?
I think so, especially when it comes to potatoes, stuffing, mac and cheese, candied yams, biscuits, everything. I mean, it's just we all learn at a young age that food is comfort, especially us that deal with obesity issues. So
Yeah.
as soon as the holiday kind of comes around and, oh, have another plate. Oh, the grandma or the nanny is, have another plate. Come on, you need to eat. And before you know it, it's you're struggling with a serious food addiction.
Yeah. Well, listen, we have a guy who's done a lot of training in this named Jacob. I'd love to bring him on to talk a little bit about this with us if he can. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and thank you, Adam, for being comfortable to tell your story. I think this is something
Absolutely.
that there are millions of people struggling with, maybe silently, who don't really have the courage or the feeling of comfort to be able to come out and speak on. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are sharing the same struggle with you.
Right.
So it's good to be on here and be able to spread that message for a lot of people. And
Yeah.
it's really a bummer because, the holidays are meant to be these times where we come together, we share stories, we get closer with one another. And when food becomes this thing that really shuts us off, it's no longer empowering. And instead, it's something that really breeds fear and discomfort and shame when it really shouldn't be that way. And there's so many ways to try and get around that and so many strategies that people put in place. But in reality, it comes down to each person's individual story. Like for you, food means something different than it does for everyone else. Some people are using it to shut things out. Some people are using it to get over past history. Some people are just they like food a lot, and it's important to have these individual voices like you have right now. And I liked Ethan's question asking about how it's changed from when you were young to how you are now. And
Right.
I'd love to hear more about that. Just what goes through your minds when the holidays are coming around? How do you try to plan for that? And what do you do to try and prepare each year, each holiday?
Yeah, and especially now that you have been like focusing on a weight loss journey, like are you aware of certain traps that are like right around the corner or coming for you? And what would those be?
Well, as I've changed over the last 11 months, I've become fully aware of what becoming a glutton of food has done to me physically and mentally. So it's really I've had to change my whole minds mindset of eating and like not eating for comfort, but more of just trying to be a little bit social when it comes to the food. But I used to look for food as almost as a savior, and now I don't do that. I eat because I need the protein in my diet. The dietitian has been very good at helping me with trying to hit those goals that I have my protein levels higher and obviously a carbohydrate level very low. That's for me. But years ago, and I mean just as last year, I truly would just kind of go balls to the walls with the food. And if I felt judged by someone at a table, I would just make a plate and go hide in my room.
And are you prepared for so 11 months this that began this year, right?
January 13th will be 1 year. Yes.
Are you prepared for any kind of triggers or anything that the holidays might bring about? Like, look, honestly, whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or what, for me, and I
Yeah.
know I'm not the absolute here and everybody has their own experience, but like the holidays for me all meant food. I can associate, Thanksgiving means turkey, but turkey's fine. Like you
Of
can
course.
pretty much knock yourself out on turkey.
Yeah.
Like the ancillary stuff, the stuffing, the pies, and then Christmas and in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's just holiday get together after holiday get together. My wife started doing Friendsgiving, which was just
Oh,
another meal where we overate. So like we get into a time, and I think there's something wrapped up with the weather too, where maybe our genetic programming is like, let's store a little fat because we're getting colder.
comfort as well.
And it becomes a daunting challenge just to get through the next 2 months. And if you started this year, like this is kind of probably going to be a bit of a test.
100%. 100%. I um I think I've done a lot of work mentally of myself with understanding that overeating is not going to make me happy anymore. So that's kind of what I've had to do. But I've had to do a lot of work on myself for that. Um, I don't look at food anymore as a comfort. I kind of sit in the anxiety of it, of that hunger pain, which, as you are fully aware of, it can be quite tragic when you're hungry and you just want to eat and help your feelings. And I hope I'm mentally prepared for that. I think I am.
If I can ask a question, at what moment or what realization did you have where that switch happened, where you realized food isn't happiness, it isn't comfort, and that can be found in other things? What caused
Absolutely. So last year, I was 638 pounds. I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without being winded. I'm a father of four, and I have three sons and a daughter. And I've suffered with anxiety and depression since I was a very young man, and I've used food as a crutch my whole life. And I think becoming 36 years old and truly understanding, like, hey man, if you're winded going up the stairs and lightheaded and you're having heart palpitations, it's time to truly make a change. And I honestly had enough of being that guy. And, fitting in airplane seats or seatbelts not fitting, going to the big and tall here and telling the guy telling me, oh, sorry, we don't have anything to fit you anymore, was a real like, whoa, this is what I've let food take control of my life. And I just decided that in the new year of this year that I wasn't going to do that anymore.
Adam, what are the specifics of your diet? Like I'm trying to parse out through what you said. Is it just low carb?
100%. Yeah, and I've also had a little help through the doctor with I have tried Ozempic as well, and it has truly. I mean, I hope I'm allowed to talk about that here,
Yeah.
but Ozempic's changed my life, and I'm not a spokesperson for it. I was set against it 2 years ago when the doctor had brought it up to me, and to be straight with you, I really never even take an Advil if I have an issue. Food has been my love and my helper for a long time, and I just decided I just had enough, and I did the first 0.25, and it completely in my mind changed my whole, because I'm a stress eater too. So I would find myself binging at nighttime severely, where we're talking like four burgers at McDonald's and two large fries. We're talking a large pizza and just laying in bed. We're talking an abundance of gluttony here. And the Ozempic truly took my racing mind, and it almost made me be able to be comfortable in my own skin, even being severely overweight and plus 600 pounds at the time, and just understand that it helped me get through one day at a time instead of thinking, oh, I need to lose 50 pounds. I need to lose 100 pounds. It helped me just slow down and understand that, hey, it's okay. We can't have mashed potatoes anymore. We're going to get through that. I know it sounds crazy because it's like you're having a love affair with food, but it's reality. And
Yeah.
truly, food was killing me. And
Jake, Jacob, I would love to hear from you on this. I personally come from a place where I think anything that is helpful to an individual is valid. Like whatever you're doing that is giving you success is valid. Um, but Jacob, from a stance of like medicine and science, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're going to talk about Ozempic specifically, you know, when you with someone like Adam, this is something that you've struggled with for your entire life. And I'm sure it's not because you've just decided that this is how you want to be. It's a struggle. It's something that happens mentally. It's tough. It's a challenge. And when this is something that is affecting your life so greatly and is going to affect the trajectory of your life, and you've tried so many different things, for some people, it's what else is there to do? This is the rest of your life that you're talking about. And you mentioned how you made that switch from food being happiness and comfort to realizing what it actually was that brought you happiness and comfort, being your family, the people around you, being able to move your body. And when
yes,
when there's no other way to make that switch in your mind of food, then pharmacology, GLP-1s, it's something that can change food from being what's always preoccupying your mind, getting rid of that food noise and allowing you to focus on other things that are going to put you on the right trajectory. I don't see why we should turn people away from that. I mean, this is people's lives, it's their families' lives, it's enjoyment, and it can be the difference from happiness and suffering for a lot of people. And I think that's a super powerful tool. I don't think anyone should ever feel bad about asking for a helping hand from, an insulin needle. It doesn't make you
Right.
any better or worse of a person. It means that you're ready to take that kind of help in your journey. And for a lot of people, that might be the difference between making it or not. So
Yeah.
hopefully you don't feel bad about that. You never should.
Oh, I did for a while because I kind of felt it was cheating of sorts. But then when I looked at how my life has gotten to be at this point, I did a ketosis diet in 2019 and I lost 140 pounds in just about 10 months. And then I broke my tailbone a year later. And then I went from I was down to 420, and then I went up to 550, and then we got up to 640. And then from 640, it's like, where do we go from here? But I also have learned that some people don't have the success that I've had with Ozempic, but I've also stopped alcohol use as well. And alcohol use was also becoming a huge thing in my life. And it was basically binging alcohol and food. And
Adam, can I ask, did the Ozempic help with the alcohol cravings?
hot 1,000,000%. Yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of cheating is such a tricky and slippery slope. I remember, um, the first time I had done ketogenic diets a number of times, and what would happen for me is I'd lose some weight, and then I would kind of plateau, and then I would go into like, well, I'm gonna do a clean keto diet, right?
Right.
And I would then like get, only eating keto, but everything has to have one word ingredients and lose a little bit more weight. And I never got anywhere near where I wanted to get on a
Right.
ketogenic diet. And so I kept thinking like I'm broken. And then finally I'd spend, a few months grinding away, nowhere near a goal weight. And I'd give up and the weight would come back so fast.
Oh,
So cut to, I start counting calories. And the first 3 or 4 months, I was just using a book and I was looking everything up and I was writing it down and doing math every day. And then I came to find that there was an app that would do all that math for me. And it wouldn't get it wrong. When I would do the math myself, I was checking and rechecking figures multiple times a day. And often I would get something wrong and have different figures and freak out like, oh my God, where did I miscalculate?
yeah.
And then I find this app. If I had thought like the app is cheating by using an app, by not doing the math myself, I would have been doing myself a disservice because that app made my life so much easier.
Right.
Doing all those calculations for me freed up a lot of my time and my mental bandwidth to actually live my life and not be so hyper concerned about my diet all the time. I'm still eating what I'm meant to eat. I think that people think of bariatric surgery, the new weight loss peptides as cheating. They're just new, and and by the way, let me tell you this, Adam. I've talked to a lot of people who have used these peptides, and I think they are kind of miraculous, but at the same time, I think there's still plenty of work to do. And like
100%.
I would love Jacob to talk on this about like really figuring out what your very specific goals are with your body, where you want to get to, and how to use nutrition to get there. And I think maybe the peptides will quiet down all the food noise in your life, help with your appetite, and like enable you to actually make those choices.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So with most people, the biggest barrier to entry just to lose the weight is how can we get less food in the system? Because that's the hardest part. It's the most complex part. It's like I was talking about earlier. Everyone has different reasons for why this food is such a big part of their life. And what these peptides can do is just quiet that and kind of push it down under and make it go away. And it kind of just just removes that barrier to the point where now you can focus on the other parts of your lifestyle that are going to be promoting of your health. You know, now food's not an issue. You can start focusing on getting enough exercise. You can start focusing on making better dietary choices because we have like a hierarchy of importance, and the biggest part of the hierarchy is calories when it comes to health and our weight. That's no longer an issue. Now we focus on the fiber, the protein, getting the right amount of carbohydrates, the types of healthy fats. And like you said, they're kind of miraculous for being able to do that. It just really evens the playing field for a lot of people. But some of the issues that we do see with people is they will take these drugs and suddenly the weight will start falling off and they won't do the other things they need to do to stay healthy. They won't start resistance training and they'll start to lose a ton of their lean mass. Their bones will start to get weaker because they're not putting that stress on them by moving around. You know, they're not eating fiber. They're not just able to get enough protein to help stop the muscle from melting away from not doing any exercise. And you know, really for a safety profile of a drug, that's it's honestly again kind of miraculous because those are things that can be prevented for the most part. It's just
Mm.
about having someone to guide you in the right direction, to put you on a training program, to give you the nutrition guidance. Like you said, you're working with a dietitian. That's great. There's probably people going to clinics who aren't, who just take the drug
Right.
and suddenly the weight starts falling off, and now
Yeah.
they're at risk for, you know, getting fractures later in life and having other health problems which are not going to be helpful with their weight later on. So
No.
well, these drugs are amazing and they really do even the playing field for a lot of people, but like you said, Ethan, it doesn't mean that there's no other work to be done. It just you're now one step further on that journey of getting healthier and improving your longevity and becoming someone who is not ruled by food.
Yeah, I really think it becomes tricky because anything that is incredibly helpful can turn into you could start to think of it as a crutch or a cheat, and that just does you a disservice. Like my Fitness Pal app helped me so much. It wasn't cheating to use my Fitness Pal. I
Right.
was overwhelmed with math, and I found my Fitness Pal. You know, I used to think of doing keto as a cheat because I'd lose 10 pounds the first week every single week.
Right.
And then weight loss would really stall and slow down a lot. But I think that anything that's beneficial, I don't think it's healthy to think of it as a cheat. And so kudos to you, Adam, for doing
Well,
that.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I truly do because it's, you were a big guy too at one point, and it's how hard it is and how it weighs on the body and the mind, and the perception. I think that's the hardest part for me is, when you're walking with your kids and you notice other people staring at you, or you're driving in the car and all of a sudden you notice eyes on you and you're like, oh man, like not only am I embarrassing to myself, how do I look to my children?
Well,
You
let
know?
me just tell you, Adam, I'm still a big guy. I'm still a very big guy. I don't want to be considered a slight guy at all. I lift
No, no,
weights
of
in the gym.
course.
No, I'm kidding. But another thing that I'd love to just plant in your mind is there was a point where I had this idea that weight loss would solve every problem I had. And I just kept waiting for a state of nirvana, a state of spiritual ecstasy to wash over me when I'd lost enough weight. And I had this feeling like, well, I just got to keep going until, I reach some sort of enlightenment, and I'll only know it when I reach this state of enlightenment. And I had to get very realistic ultimately after a couple decades of diet and losing tons of weight and being dissatisfied almost every time. And it just, for me, took a lot more than just seeing a reduction on the scale. There was also the aspect of accepting the parts of me that I have no power over to change and going, well, that's just me, and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, it truly is a mind battle. A story that pops up to me that I watched you speak about is one time you were in your trailer. You were on set and there was an issue where you might have been having a party the night before and then you had to use the washroom. and it didn't go so well. And I've had my own thing in an airplane before where I couldn't get the door closed and I couldn't get my anyways. And yeah, it wasn't number two, it was number one. But I mean, they had to mop the floor on the airplane. And I,
Yeah.
went back to my seat and had another crown and ginger. And I was like, oh, I don't know what happened. The water spilled. But really, it was I couldn't get the door closed. And I just remember that feeling. And, hearing your story about that, what happened to you in the trailer, I thought, well, I've been there too. And, you know,
Well, listen,
it's,
brother, this is a great point. When we can have those non-scale victories, like going to the bathroom on an airplane, which
yeah.
I suspect is not fun for anyone at any
No,
size.
no, no.
We got to take them where we can get them. And Jacob, I would love to hear a little more from you on. I think these drugs, these peptides, are going to become ubiquitous. I really do. I just see. I don't think we're going to see a day when I believe 30% of North America is obese, and we've now got these things that to my eye read as miracle drugs, and I think they're going to be there. What are the things that we should do? And again, I come at this saying I lost weight a number of times and was never happy with it, and I had to like really start to focus on just numbers on the scale aren't going to they change my life in ways like yes, I can use an airplane bathroom now, which is great. I can close a seatbelt on an air in an airplane seat without an extension. That's huge, but it didn't do for me everything I expected it to. And I'd love to hear from you, Jacob, on some of the things people might want to concentrate on alongside these peptides to get to where they want to get to.
Yeah, I mean, people need to understand that while they are kind of miraculous, they really aren't miracles. They aren't going to suddenly solve all of your problems. And I think anyone here who has tried them and lost weight from them will understand. And like you said, Ethan, it doesn't matter how lean you get, you're not ever going to just reach that moment where suddenly it's over, the journey ends. There's every day is a new day, and every day is an opportunity to grow and build more upon the last day. And that's never going to go away. There's never going to be you're never going to cease to have a need to improve. And these drugs, like I mentioned earlier, might remove some of the barriers, but they aren't suddenly going to make you healthy. And the things that people who are on them need to focus on really are the same things that people who aren't on them need to focus on. But the people who have a need for them probably are a bit further away from having these lifestyle interventions in the right spot anyway. But getting enough protein, because when you're losing weight, your body's going to burn that muscle. And one of the only ways to keep it on there is to have enough protein. And second is to make sure that you're doing some sort of activity, which for someone who's in a big body who might be on this type of drug, that's going to be hard. But it's like, it's not going to make it easy. It's just going to push you in a different direction and give you the motivation to actually do it. So making sure you're active, whether that means pushing yourself to try and walk up maybe an extra flight of stairs, just sitting up and down out of a chair, things that might not be seen as traditional exercise, but for someone who is not as mobile are anything to work your muscles a little bit harder, and eventually being able to get in the gym and push some weight around, which I'm an advocate for everyone to do, no matter your size, because really it's so important for your health. But it's it doesn't make there stop being a need to have a healthy diet and lead an active lifestyle. It just makes it more accessible for the people who are already struggling with it. So it's not a miracle, but it definitely can push you in the right direction, and it doesn't give you any excuse to not try and live a healthy lifestyle like everyone else.
That's amazing. Jacob, Adam, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and sharing with us. And Jacob, I just got to say, I'm such a fan of yours. Thank you. And for everybody out there, check out Jacob on Instagram at Jacob Foods. Jacob Foods, right?
Yep, that's it. That's
Jacob
me.
Foods. He has great videos. They're highly entertaining and educational. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I'm on. So it's Big Adam. Oh, that's it.
Awesome. We're going to tune in and watch your journey. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Jacob.
You guys.
Okay, let's do first things first. This is where we share a clip and then get to your questions about it, or we talk about whatever's on your mind. Trace, roll the clip, please.
Welcome to Walk It Home. I'm going to show you how easy it is to do this entire program. One of our core moves is a kick, and that's all it is, just kicking that foot out, and it's very easy to make this workout your own. If you're at a higher fitness level, you can pick up the intensity. So if you look at Wes, he's just doing a small little kick. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you've been working with us for a long time, you can boost that kick. That's perfect, Kim. Extending that leg all the way up, reaching forward. Every single time that, you're going to increase the intensity and burn more calories, which is what we're all about here at Walk It Home.
Awesome. I like that. I remember the first time I started really trying to increase my movement, it was just walking. I walked past my car to the end of the car, and just those few steps felt kind of silly after I'd done it, but it was difficult, and then I built on it. I would love to hear if anybody has any questions about that or anything else. Let's start talking to people. Trace, who do we got? Does anybody have their hand raised? Hi, Alex. How are you, dude?
Hi, good to meet you, Ethan. I'm happy to be here. I just want to preface this by saying I don't know if you get this often, Ethan, but my introduction to you growing up, I saw you in Evolution, the most random movie of out of all the amazing stuff you've done. And I identified with you right away. I grew up overweight, struggled I can't remember a moment where it was not a part of my story. So just to like give you a bit of the context of me, I'm 28 now. I was always overweight, going up and down. Every clear objective I can ever think of always revolved around my weight and how much am I going to lose. That was always my way of controlling and managing my life. And I was obese at one point as a kid and into college. And something happened to me, Ethan, that I really am eager to share with you because I'm hearing all these incredible words. You had David Knapp on here, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting his name. I think Jacob. Just speaking all these incredible things. There's so many tools that are accessible now, which I celebrate and I don't want to discredit. I just want to share a little bit about what happened with me, which was um, I'm an actor as well. Another reason why I look up to you. And I did a show at the Globe Theatre in London, and I had lost a lot of weight the summer before. I was obese, and I worked out excessively, unhealthily, in a way that was problematic in and of itself. It was a manifestation of anorexia and bulimia, now that I look back on it. So I went from that. I was obese, right? And I wanted that solution. I wanted it. I wanted it. And I did what I had to do to get there. And when I came to London that summer to do the show, I didn't realize how this would affect me. This affected me even more than the obesity and the weight issues I thought I had. When people said to me, Alex, oh my God, you look so great, that didn't feel good. I didn't expect that. I don't know
Well,
how
it
much you.
it feels a little bit like you look terrible.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I had to lose this weight to realize what you really thought of me. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
No, I can totally relate to that, man.
So yeah, and I just wanted to share that and just that hurt a lot. And from there, I went into a bad spiral in another direction, which I wanted to bring up on this show because this disease, I call it a disease for myself. Other people, I don't want to classify anybody else, but that's how I identify with it because it's such a tricky bastard. Because I'll hear a solution for someone else that works for them. Nobody should be discredited for what's working for them. And then at the same time, that very same solution, when applied wrong, like I did, I went in a really bad direction. And it scares me. This is the number one thing that affects the earth, like point blank. I don't question that. Heart disease is the number one thing, killer in America. We don't have, this is the frontier of so many of our issues, and yet we feel so alone. We feel so alone, and we feel shame, and we all these humiliating stories. And I I'm so grateful for platforms like this where you're starting to have a conversation and be an example for it. I just want to have a conversation about, how do we classify ourselves more specifically with what's going on with us. Like I had no idea I was capable of being a bulimic. I thought I just got to lose the weight. I had no idea what that could turn into. And once that hit me, I was like, man, what's going on?
Yeah, I think it's tricky because, and this is what I found true for myself, is that I wanted one word solutions. I wanted keto, I wanted sugar-free, I wanted gluten-free, or get rid of the lectins, or that it was something environmental, or I desperately craved just to be solved with a word. If there was a word that could sum me up, then I could have a solution that was simple and to the point. And the thing I realized is like, there's so much noise in my life that's particular and specific to me that trying to solve everything under this banner or this, this flag of like, I'm allergic to carbohydrates. Turns out that's not true because somebody else said they were allergic to carbohydrates and that they
Right,
had success in that way. Um, I think it is a very individual thing, strangely. And it's bizarre because so many people have the same symptoms, right? Which is
right,
obesity, which is linked to heart disease, which is linked to numerous and various types of cancer. And all these things are associated. And then we can say, like, well, you have obesity and you have obesity and you have obesity. So we should all just do the same thing to handle
right,
it. But it's not like strep throat where you can take an antibiotic and kill the bacteria that's causing this thing, or get a flu shot and kill the virus that's causing that thing. I
right,
think our lives are all so unique to us that the solutions to this will become very comprehensively unique. So it's like, yeah, there could be a diet that's successful for one person that's not going to be successful for another. And you even look at the new peptides, which on paper read as miracles. I've talked to plenty of people that don't make any dietary or lifestyle changes and don't find all the success they would otherwise hope to find with these peptides. I talked to a guy recently, and he'd been taking uh, Zepbound for a while, and just stalled, not losing any weight. And there's the other aspect of like me when I was rapidly losing weight, I would often still feel as though there was something very unsolved with me.
right,
Like I lost 200 pounds and I didn't feel normal. And so I think the real thing is that we are individuals and there are going to be preferences, likes and dislikes that are unique to us. And there are going to be dietary schemes and exercise schemes that we gravitate towards that we are capable of doing long term to find success, and others that we aren't. So this kind of game of telephone that I see in the diet space where like there will be a faction that says you just have to not eat carbohydrates. And then there's another faction that says, well, it's only the processed food, there's even a group that says it's animal products. I think all of that noise disregards the fact that we are individuals. We all have our own baggage that we're carrying along with it. And something that was true for me too was I was pinning all my hopes and dreams on weight loss. And when I'd
right,
lose weight and all my hopes and dreams didn't miraculously come through, it was such a disappointment. So now I've gotten the thing I wanted most, which was weight loss, and it didn't come with any of the benefits I expected. And that's
right.
that's a hard pill to swallow often. Um,
And it's scary too because that's happened to me as well. I mean, you described going up and down, and it's scary because I remember getting that feeling like I'd achieved everything I ever could have wanted, and then it still wasn't working. And then, despite knowing solutions, like despite having knowledge, despite having all these things that worked for me, I kind of got to a nihilist, hopeless point where I was like, yeah, I know those are the answers to my weight loss, but what am I going to do about this? this void, this loneliness, this feeling. And I still, the reason why I brought up my story about being an actor that I forgot to mention was I was cast as Falstaff. I don't know if you know that character. He's like the famous fat, he's like the first fat fool, that
And then
has.
you got in shape to play him?
I got in, so I quit. So they had cast it over the summer, but I didn't know I was cast. And when I got back, they revealed like who was cast as what. And because I was thin, I remember they said my it was in when I was training. So my teachers said, what happened? Like you're playing Falstaff. And I thought, how interesting that you think my ability to play this guy is dependent on the number of fat cells I have in my body. How interesting. And then what I want to share is we did the show a second time, and that time they put me in a fat suit, right? And it was all cushion. And I remember that, Ethan, this is what really hurt. Like this hurt me again, like more than being obese, actually. People started like poking me, like, oh, isn't that funny? And eventually I said, this is how I see myself every day. I did lose the weight. This is still how I see myself. And now you're poking me. It was such an existential experience that I didn't expect to have, but it was necessary because it just showed me that it really is, you know, which is the thing that's more heartbreaking, the fact that some of us get up to obese levels, or is it the fact that it takes away our dignity. Like it takes away our dignity. It takes away our agency. It's like it feels like you ever feel like you're just watching the parade go by and you're not in it. I mean, that's to me how it feels, regardless of where I'm at with my weight loss. That's always great to be dealing with. But that feeling, that to me is the thing that I always feel like I'm facing. Um, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that bit, that underneath bit.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I understand it thoroughly. The first major weight loss I had was kind of in the middle of shooting a movie. And
Oh
so
my God.
I went away for 40 days. It was like a 9 month shoot, and I went away for 40 days and came back like 80 pounds lighter, and none of my wardrobe fit. And it was kind of like a scrambling disaster. And then I felt also a little bit responsible. Like, I can't imagine you get cast as Falstaff and you've lost weight, and people are like simultaneously disappointed. Like, wait a second,
Right. Right.
it's a tough spot to be in. I think the mental hurdles with weight loss of self-acceptance. I am such a believer in that we have to accept the stuff within us that we cannot change or that's out of our control, and we can work diligently to set up the best circumstances that we can. But there's going to be stuff that we maybe assumed was going to change that doesn't change, and other stuff that changes, and when it happens, and when I could go and sit on an airplane and buckle a seatbelt, that was a miraculous day. But because the rest of my life hadn't shifted, because I wasn't like floating around in a state of nirvana, I didn't take that win at the time. It took
Right.
me a long time to be able to go like, no, that's a big accomplishment for myself, and I'm going to be proud and I'm going to be stoked. And to be honest with you, at any size, airplane seats tend to suck no matter what.
Right.
Even
Right.
in first class, they're not comfortable. So, like, what are you going to do about that? But, Alex, thank you so much for sharing with us. And
Thanks,
I
Ethan.
really appreciate it. And I hope you come back and share some more.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Trace, we got anybody else?
We've got Sam who's coming on right now.
Hi, Sam.
How's it going?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good, good. Like Alex before, like I've been a big fan for a while. I actually, in high school, I used to play TC Williams in football. So like I've seen Remember the Titans 1,000 times.
That's awesome.
So yeah, thanks for having me on.
When you watch the movie, are you disappointed that they ultimately win?
I mean, my high school wasn't built at that time, so I'm
Okay, okay,
I'm
good.
good with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it Like I sort of identified. I was always like the most out of shape kid on the football team, sort of thing. So definitely, I see that in me.
Yeah. What do you do? You look great from what I'm seeing now. Are you still in it? Do you feel like you're maintaining your weight? Where are you at now?
I'm still in it. So I mean, I my biggest I ever got was 340. I'm at 290 now. I want to get to like 220. That's my goal.
Okay.
So I'm still right in the middle of it. I take Zepbound right now. And I think, one thing that we talked about previously, like you guys talked about with Adam, is like that's only a tool. And you said it too, like the it's not really like it helps obviously like a ton, but it's not like this like cheat code, like you just take it and the weight just falls off. That's not really how it works. And
Well, the other thing is, Sam, and like I've lost weight in various ways.
hmm
I lost weight doing a liquid diet, which was tantamount to a fast. I lost weight doing something called my first personal diet, which is like super, super low calorie.
hmm
I lost weight on keto. I lost weight doing just massive amounts of cardio and basically starving myself. I had this rule, like as long as I'm riding my bike, I can eat solid food. And I had to get these little bars called bonk breakers. And they were basically like oats and honey, and I think some of them had some rice in them, and some of them were flavored like bananas. Who knows what was in them? But a little bar I carried in the back of my cycling jersey, and I was allowed to eat solid food while I was riding the bike. And so I would ride my bike 8 hours a day. Um, I never was satisfied with my body. I was
hmm
never happy. I got down to lighter than I am today, just doing massive amounts of cardio. And like there's an aspect too of acceptance, but like I don't think any diet or any single exercise scheme, I don't think it gets you all the way there. I think that this stuff becomes really comprehensive and complicated, and I found myself so desperate for like a single concept that solved me, you know?
hmm
And now I think what's out there are these peptides, which from everything I've seen and heard about, they are kind of miraculous, but it's not the whole game, right? There's still lots of stuff to be done. Like if you have this image in your head of yourself at 220 pounds, just getting that shot once a week probably doesn't get you to that exact image, right? It might be
hmm
the helping hand that can assist you in doing everything else you need to do to get there. But I doubt that just that alone gets you across the finish line of whatever you have in your head that's probably very specific to you, of like what you want from your body every day and how you want to look and how you want to feel and your comfort levels and all the things like that. Like, okay, powerful tool. At the same time, MyFitnessPal is a
hmm
powerful tool. The Carbon Diet Coach app is a powerful tool. The RP, the Renaissance Periodization app, a powerful tool. Um, any diet scheme you do can be a powerful tool, but I don't think any of us are kind of cured by one thing. I think it is like a comprehensive look at our lives, what we want our relationships with our loved ones to be like, what we want our energy levels at work to be. There's just so many nuances and aspects that are going to be super specific to you. And I found myself disappointed over and over and over again. Now, I don't know how long you've been taking Zepbound and if you find it to be miraculous and if you don't have to do any other work. But I would suspect that if you dug into what your absolute ideal is for yourself, it's going to take more than just that peptide. I would bet.
hmm Yeah, 100%. Like I live 5, 6 days a week and like I track everything I eat still. So I feel like Zepbound, like, and we all know like when you start losing weight, how like ravenously hungry you get because your body's like, no, 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 you're not doing this. And so really what Zepbound at least helped me do is like it just sort of stops that. It doesn't like it doesn't make you so hungry that you want to just go grab stuff and like eat all of that weight back. And that's where I feel like it's helped me. And I think I got lucky. Like one of my best friends is a doctor at a weight loss clinic. And so when I told him I was interested in these, he was like, okay, let's talk. And so I talked to him for about an hour, and he's like, what you need to do is you need to weight lift. Kind of like what Jacob said. You need to weight lift, you need to get in this amount of protein, and you need to have 40 grams of fiber a day, and you need to have a bunch of water. And if you don't do those things, like you're gonna feel terrible on the medication. Like it's gonna like you're gonna get constipation, you're gonna just feel like nauseous all the time. And I've sort of seen that myself. Like if there's a weekend where I just eat terribly, I feel awful.
Right.
And it sort of like is this natural, like, hey, you should probably eat healthy again sort of thing.
Yeah, and
But
by the way, the things you just listed off as the things that are like super beneficial in conjunction with this drug, not easy. None of those is
No.
easy. Weightlifting isn't easy. Getting in that much protein is not easy. Fiber is certainly not easy, man. I started my whole introduction to fiber with 40 grams a day too. And that was harder than the protein for me, man. It wasn't
Mhm.
comfortable eating that much fiber. So all of those things can be challenges. But I think much like my experience was with keto, where I expected I'm just going to jump on keto and I'm going to get to exactly where I want to get to. And that's all I have to do is no carbohydrates. And it never happened. I think we'll find people are probably going to be disappointed with these interventions, the GLP-1 agonists, because they'll jump on them and go like, well, now my life is going to be a miracle. It's just time. I'm going to close my eyes and like, you know, coast through the next however many months or a year and wake up one day and be cured. And I don't think that's going to be the case for many people.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
there's other stuff to do. And I think that goes with any diet, any scheme, and I think it's going to wind up being super individual for or super unique to every individual, like broadly, I think what you're doing is absolutely the best way to do it. But
Mhm.
there's going to be nuance from person to person on how they go about achieving these things. By the way,
Yeah.
kudos to you. 40 grams of fiber a day is no joke.
It's tough. Yeah. I think what you said is spot on because like I feel like I had to find a mission and then like embrace that mission. And for me, like I've always sort of lifted weights, so even though I was bigger, I was always strong, right? And now, I lost 100 pounds previously, and I felt myself getting weaker because it was a program where they give you prepared foods, and I just wasn't getting enough protein. And, I was, even when I was lifting, I felt myself getting weaker. And now, I weigh 40 pounds more than my smallest weight then, and I'm fitting in the same clothes. And so now I sort of see it as like my mission to try to build or maintain as much muscle as I can as I lose this weight. And then it also sort of gives me a mission when I get to the goal weight of
Yeah.
like building muscle again, because I didn't really have a plan last time. And then that weight just came right back on. And so it was almost like now it's thinking of it more as like a mission that outside of the weight loss. Like my mission is muscle, and the weight loss is just sort of happening, right? And I feel like, that's like you said, like that's my sort of thing. I love weightlifting, and so that's sort of my mission, but everybody's going to have a different mission, outside of loss. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sam, thank you so much. I'm really happy for you. And just keep doing what you're doing. Sounds like you're on a great path. And remember, this is a lifelong path. This doesn't end, with a number on a scale.
Nope.
Trace, can we talk to one more person,
Yeah, we've
please?
got Patrick on.
Hi, Patrick. Sure. Yeah, I think that the way we point ourselves at any of this, the point of view we take, our mindset, there's lots of words to describe what I think you're talking about. I think that's vitally important. Absolutely.
Like there we have probably all experienced the joys with every non-scale victory, and you've kind of talked about, you know, that's not the only thing that's going to keep my head in the game long term. And I've been thinking a lot about how to try to not be heavy long term, and this idea that when we're experiencing the non-scale victories, there's like this, you can have an adrenaline rush, you get a dopamine rush, it just feels good, and like the world opens up momentarily, and like, man, I haven't had this experience and this is great. But weight loss also carries with it, it's impacted by the law of diminishing returns. And what your podcast has been so helpful, because it has helped me think a little farther out in time. Like, then what? That's a great question. Like,
Yeah,
you
dude,
lose the
listen.
weight, and then what,
And then what
man?
happens? Then you got the rest
Yeah.
of your life.
What do you got in place?
Yeah,
Right?
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. The first time I could buckle a seatbelt on an
Mhm.
airplane was a big deal.
Yeah.
But my entire life hadn't shifted. I hadn't reached a state of
Mhm.
nirvana, so I almost
Right.
ignored it. I almost didn't take that victory. And
Right.
then a couple years later, and it's like it's just life and I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah.
It almost becomes
Mhm.
meaningless. But I'll tell you what, when I gained weight again and I had to ask for or
Mhm.
hide the belt and pretend that I was
Yeah.
buckling it when I couldn't anymore, I felt it then like, oh my God, I had beaten this and now I'm back and now I need a
Mhm.
seatbelt extension again.
Right.
And the fact that I'd beaten it, I was now too ashamed to even ask for it because it's like such a public thing in front of everyone. Hey, this doesn't fit. I need help. I need the accessory so that if we crash, I have a slightly better chance of
Mhm.
surviving than otherwise.
Right.
You know, all of this is stuff that for me was almost like pearls before swine, where it was just like all this wonderful stuff, but because it wasn't like utter enlightenment, I
Mm-mm.
ignored it. And I think we got
Mhm.
to take all of that, but also realize that life goes on and it might
Mhm.
become meaningless a week from now or a year
Yep.
from now. And I would love for the fact that I can sit in a coach seat. It's not, to be honest with you, comfortable, but I can do
Mhm.
it. To be the victory today that it was the first time I was able to
Right.
do it. But now
Right.
it's just like nothing but like, yeah, we got to position ourselves to go like, I'm still fighting for this every day.
Mhm.
I'm fighting for the
Yeah.
coach seat, which seems so antithetical to what I want. I want to only sit in first class. It's not always possible. And so I want to know that that's still a big win, and I still got to fight for that every day.
Well,
E-
thanks a lot, Patrick. We
Sure.
gotta move on to do the daily nudge and what have you, and we can all aspire to sit in first class.
Yes, like my friend Camille Foster. Uh,
Exactly.
um, God, this has been so great. I honestly, Trace, I could just talk all day long to people about this. I think it is so valuable to keep it because honestly, this is what keeps me going, these conversations. That's how fragile it still is. Okay, we're doing the daily nudge. Trace,
Yep.
that's where we're at. Okay, roll the video.
It is
Just a quote. All right,
it's just a screen grab of
just
the
a
daily
screen grab
nudge.
of the daily nudge. Here we go. The first thing you do each day should be something that grounds you, stretch, breathe, or write down one thing you're grateful for. That's a quote from Deepak Chopra. Even just one small thing in the morning, stretching your body, taking a couple deep breaths, or jotting down one thing you're grateful for can set the tone for your whole day. I know this stuff can sound a little woo-woo, but starting from a place of balance and resilience never hurt anyone. It's an easy way to build a healthy routine into your day. A few things before we go. Live two-way callers will always be the heart of the show, but you can also record and upload video questions. Participation is easy and accessible for everyone. Go to twoway.tv/Ethan Suplee to join me every week in the two-way conversation. We are also live on two-way, Instagram, and X, and every episode is up on my YouTube channel at Ethan_Suplee. That's all for this week. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, everybody, thanks a lot for showing up. It's me, Trace, here with Ethan, and we appreciate you showing up. And if you could share the videos or, anything you could do to help to build a bigger community, we could help each other.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
Doing the right thing a little bit. And that's all we've got to say for tonight. But if you stick around, you might get a little something extra.
Guys, thank you so much for coming. This is awesome. This is what keeps me going and creating a community like this. So thank you. Thank you, Trace.
Okay. All right, so that's the end of the recording. I do